Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This recording will be, this webinar will be recorded. And hello, my name is Erica Rowe, and I am joined by my co-host, Angie Petrillo. We are from the Partnership for Children of Essex. Welcome, welcome. Today's webinar is entitled Personal Preference Program, PPP 101. And will be given by Becky Thomas from DMAHS. Just a few housekeeping tips before we get started. In this format, all participants will be muted by default. So if you have any questions or you want to communicate with myself or the panelists, please use the question and answer feature that's located at the bottom of your screen. As I said, this recording is the presentations will be available on our website, www.njyouthtransition.life, but this is being recorded. This session is also being closed captioned. In order to activate the closed caption feature, please click on the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen or window and click show subtitle. Also, if you need technology support at any point during the conference, you can access our live tech support Zoom room sponsored by Rich West from ATAC. The Zoom room link is available on our website on the conference agenda page. Please be patient. There may be other people that are trying to seek assistance at the same time, but many times if you sign out, and then sign back in, that usually fixes the problem. Also note that we have a hard stop 5 minutes before the next hour in order for it to host the next presentation room. So without further ado, we welcome Rebecca. You have the floor.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for joining today. I'm happy to walk through a program, the Personal Preference Program, also lovingly called the PPP. So let's get started. Of course, my slideshow wants to be persnickety. So let's see if it'll work with me today. There we go. So today's goals are to provide a better understanding of the Personal Preference Program. We're going to do a walkthrough of the enrollment process. And then there's going to be a lot of resources to share to how to answer questions, how to reach out to other entities that support the program, so that if this is something that works for you or someone you care about, you can be empowered to move forward. So let's start off with meeting Sarah. Sarah, she's 34 years old. She lives by herself in a small ranch home. She works part-time in the neighborhood library and enjoys dining out with friends. Sarah has multiple sclerosis and uses a wheelchair due to severe weakness in her limbs. Sarah is independent in many ways. However, she requires assistance with getting ready for the day, both during the work week and the weekend. Sarah's sister and brother help when they can, but they have young families and aren't always available. Sarah is seeking reliable supports to assist her with getting ready each day. She learned that as a member of NJ Family Care, also known as Medicaid, she is eligible for personal care assistance, PCA services. She contacts her health plan for more information. So just a little basic information about PCA. So New Jersey offers personal care assistance services for NJ Family Care members like Sarah who need help with activities of daily living. We refer to these as ADLs, such as bathing, dressing, meal preparation, and light housekeeping. These services can help support independence at home and in the community. The members' NJ Family Care Health Plan will use the state's PCA assessment tool to determine the number of hours of PCA that a member may receive based on their ADL needs. If the member disagrees, they have a right to appeal and or file a Medicaid fair hearing. So there is the opportunity that if you don't agree with the assessed hours, the member or the member's representative on their behalf are able to file an appeal for another look. The member's NJ Family Care Health Plan can provide these services through a PCA agency. The agency sends a qualified person to the member's home on a specific schedule. And New Jersey has another way for New Jersey family care members to get these services that does not involve an agency. This is called the Personal Preference Program. So the Personal Preference Program offers members more choice, flexibility, control, and the opportunity to manage their personal care services. Self-directed personal care assistance may not be the choice for all members, but it is an available option. With PPP, Sarah can choose a relative or friend to help her with ADL needs and pay them for these services within her approved budget. So this is a great opportunity to kind of talk through the value of what an agency can provide for PCA and what the self-directed option in PPP can provide. So we did a one-to-one comparison because this is a valuable place for individuals to determine what's the right path. So an agency is a good for an NJ family care member who doesn't have a desire or the interest or ability to manage their own care. But in the PPP, it would work for a member who wishes to choose who helps care for their needs, and it gives them more control of how those services are met, who provides them, the scheduling, et cetera. For an agency, the member's health plan uses an agency from their network of providers. So they will send someone to your home to provide your services, where in the self-directed world, the member can hire people they know and trust. On the agency side, the agency will do the hiring and the training and the supervising and the scheduling, something you wouldn't have to do. But on the self-directed side, you have the ability to control the employees. You will hire the employees, you will train your employees, and you will train them how to do the tasks that you require. On the agency side, they're responsible for timekeeping, timesheets, paying. A member's health plan is responsible for payment to the agency. That is a process that on the agency side, the member is not involved with. However, on the self-direction side, the member or their designated representative is responsible for approving timesheets and payments and authorizing that. We're going to talk what a CMP is. I know there's a lot of alphabet soup in anything and everything having to do with state programs, but the CMP is called a cash management plan, and that's the how they will use their budget to pay for their services. So the member is going to have that level of responsibility. Their budget is going to be used to pay for administrative costs and additional any type of work that needs to be done by their employees. The agency will do the oversight of the supervising services and making sure that everything is meeting program compliance. Where on the PPP side, we use what we call a fiscal agent. They are, or we also refer to them as a fiscal intermediary. This is an agent, a vendor essentially, that will help the member and their family doing a lot of the supports of being a self-directed member for PPP. So you will have, instead of the agency doing it, you will have supports to do these different tasks. The agency is responsible for providing a backup plan. When you're in self-direction, you will have a backup plan, and the fiscal agent will assist with that process. And lastly, the agency is responsible for how the services are provided, or on the self-directed side, the member decides how their caregiver will provide their services. So when we look to authorizing services, and we look at how options counseling can take a part of that, we want to, I'm sorry, hold on, just a quick, we have a piece that we refer to as the options counseling piece. So every individual who raises their hand and says, you know, I've had my assessment, I'd like to learn a little bit more about my options. This is what we refer to as options counseling. So let's just take a walk through the different elements of that. Authorized hours are determined by the completion of a PCA assessment by the managed care organization. We also refer to them as MCOs for members that are enrolled in managed care. And just by managed care, I'm just going to, name, we have Horizon and J Health, Aetna Better Health New Jersey, Amerigroup, United Community Health Plan, and WellCare New Jersey. So just when I say MCOs, that's who I'm referring to. So members who choose traditional PCA services will receive the authorized hours from an accredited PCA agency. Members who choose to self-direct through the personal preference program will receive a monthly budget. We're going to go over that in our presentation today. Based on the authorized PCA hours. The PCA hours are calculated into a dollar amount that is used to pay for services. So essentially, this sentence here that's highlighted in bold, that's what determines the budget. So and like I said, we're gonna take some time with that today. In this model, members are not restricted to purchase the same amount of hours for which they have been authorized. This is also a nuance in self-direction where in the agency realm, if you are authorized for 40 hours, the agency must provide you 40 hours. Where in the PPP, when you get your budget, there will be wage, you can choose the wage of how you pay someone and what that looks like. You may have a different, you may wind up with more hours depending on the pay and how the service budget works out. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. So my little slide doesn't want to come with me. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so Sarah completed her options counseling, and this process will happen with the managed care with your health plan. So you'll have completed your PCA assessment. You said, hey, I'm kind of interested in PPP. It will be that part of your process to receive an options counseling. And this is a couple of simple documents to walk through what it means, what that process entails, and you can make a determination if self-direction is the right choice for you, or if this is for a family member and you are their authorized representative and you are working on behalf of them. This is something that you'll walk through with your health plan. So for Sarah, the PCA assessment has determined that Sarah is eligible for 25 hours per week. Her health plan provides options counseling to determine if self-direction is a good option for her. So part of it is that the budget calculation process, clarifying what it means to be the employer record, or the EOR, the role of an authorized representative if it's needed, and the completion of forms for enrollment processing. So let's get to the calculation process. So this, to me, I have to tell you, I'm not a math person. So whenever I look at all these numbers, I slightly want to cry a little bit, but it's all going to make sense. So let's walk through the multi-step process that at the end of the day will create the budget. So we're going to start with step one. We're going to multiply the authorized hours by the PCA reimbursement rate. So for using Sarah, continuing to use Sarah's experience as our example, she was assessed for 25 hours. The reimbursement rate at this time is $15 per hour. So 25 times 15 equals $375. So that's a weekly calculation. Step two, we take that amount and we calculate it out for an entire month. There are more than 4 weeks in each month. So we use a bookkeeping figure to account for the 29th, 30th, and 31st day in a month. So we use 4.33. So we'll take that weekly dollar amount, $375, times 4.33 to get $1,623.75. So that's a monthly figure. So this is what we're going to use to determine, we're going to take that amount and now we have to capture what we call the administrative costs. So admin is a part of the cost of essentially having your own business. This covers overhead for some of the different types of administrative costs that you have for owning a business. It's a charge of 12.5% is reduced from the monthly budget. The member will access 87.5% of that monthly amount. Once you reduce it by 12.5%, the final monthly budget will be $1,420.78. That's the amount of money that the member will have to pay for direct services. So there's a couple things that we need to be mindful of in the program. First, this dollar amount can be maybe referred to as the cash out benefit, because that's how much money she has to pay for services. Something to be mindful of is that in self-direction, you have to pay at least minimum wage. This, we still align with labor law requirements, both federally and state. So everyone that you hire cannot make less than $12. The maximum amount is $25. And just something to be mindful of is that New Jersey has passed requirements that the minimum wage, will go up $1 every January 1 until it reaches $15 in 2024. So Sarah recognizes that the higher the rate she pays per hour, it will decrease the amount of hours that are available to purchase. So it's just something to be mindful of. So what it means to be the employer of record. So under PPP, Sarah will have some new responsibilities, great deal more choice and freedom in terms of the services she receives. Sarah or her authorized rep will be the employer of record for her PCA services. This means she will make decisions and manage and supervise her employees like a small business. So as with any small business, there are some costs involved, such as bookkeeping, taxes, payroll, and other, as well as workers' compensation and other overhead. These costs are deducted from her cashed out budget, including payroll taxes, workers' compensation, and check processing fees. The balance of her budget will be applied to the services she needs to remain in her home and community. So essentially the value of this, the information here is explaining the 12.5%. The one thing that is an above and beyond is the workers' compensation. Every individual that remains in self-direction will have a renewal of their workers' compensation, and that has to be deducted annually. So that is something that each individual is made aware of and will work with their financial consultant team at the fiscal agent to understand how that works and to accommodate for costs for that. So let's talk about the role of an authorized representative. So for Sarah may choose to appoint an authorized representative. We also refer to them as an AR to help her manage her PPP services. The health plan and Sarah discuss the role of the AR. Sometimes an AR is needed if the participant cannot manage tasks on her own. So here are some reasons and some valuable information about the AR role. An AR can be anyone over 18 years of age that the participant knows and trusts, like a family member or a friend. However, the AR cannot also work for the participant and cannot be paid to act as an AR, a strictly volunteer position. An AR supports the participant as needed to fulfill the participant's responsibilities as a PPP participant and employer. So the AR must be present in the participant's life and readily available to provide the participants necessary support. An AR will support the participant to process paperwork, hire and supervise the participant's workers, oversee services from providers, sign timesheets and invoices, and follow up with public partnerships customer service agent or the participant's financial consultant if any issues come up. An AR must also be present for all scheduled visits and calls with the participant's financial consultant. An AR must meet with the financial consultant during enrollment to ensure they understand their role and responsibilities. An AR will also complete a designation of representation form agreeing to act in this role. So after completing options counseling with the health plan, Sarah's decided to participate in the personal preference program, really likes the fact she will be able to direct her own program and act as the employer of record. She has also determined she will not require the assistance of an authorized representative, but is happy to know that the option is available if the need arises. Sarah completes the enrollment paperwork and her health plan facilitates the next steps of the enrollment process. So here we are in the enrollment process. So let's start at number 1. So Sarah contacted her health plan for a PCA assessment and an application. Step 2, the health plan completes the assessment and the PPP application on the phone with Sarah. The health plan then sends the file transactions to PPL to begin the enrollment process. PPL accepts the data transmittal and begins establishing Sarah as a business owner. Sarah is entered into the PPL participant portal and assigns a financial consultant, also known as an FC. The FC calls Sarah to schedule an initial phone call where paperwork is completed for enrollment. This includes the application for employer identification number, also known as the EIN, workers' compensation policy, and the cash management plan. So there's that CMP. If potential employees are identified at this time, the FC will help enroll employees as well. The FC processes Sarah's completed documents into the PPL portal. The EIN is applied for, and once received, PPL is able to apply for workers' comp. The workers' comp application must be sent to PPL's vendor by the 15th of the month for the participant to enroll the first of the following month. PPL sends the MCO a list of all of their participants, which includes Sarah, that are ready to start for the first of the upcoming month. PPL finalizes Sarah's budget, and then Sarah is enrolled. See our next slide. I can get my, I think my computer is having a Saturday right now. All right. So here are some really valuable resources if you're interested in moving forward or know someone who's in self-direction or are interested in finding out more information. So first, PPL, Public Partnerships Limited, our fiscal intermediary. We have phone numbers in both English and Spanish. You can fax numbers if needed, direct email, as well as the New Jersey specific webpage. The managed care contact information. So each one of these numbers for the health plan, if you contact them directly, this is the office where you call to request PPP. So if you've already had a PCA assessment recently and would like to enroll, or you are seeking it and you would like to start from the beginning, these are the phone numbers you would contact to begin that process. And lastly, this is the information to contact the office at the state. We have our own direct helpline number, as well as a webpage that you can visit for additional information. And then I'd also like to introduce and share about a new initiative that's part of a federal mandate here in this, it's a national mandate, but here in New Jersey, we are working to meet our mandate requirements for something entitled EVV. So it's electronic visit verification. And I'm sharing this because this is going to be a part of the PPP in the future. It's currently in a pilot process with one of our health plans, AmeriGroup, but I did want to share this with participants today in this webinar. It's just kind of more of a, hey, this is a part of our program, and these are elements of being a recipient of PPP in the long term, as well as if you're in the PCA agency world, EVV is also part of that experience as well. So just a quick walkthrough. EVV, or electronic visit verification, is a requirement of a federal law called the 21st Century Secures Act. All states, including New Jersey, must have EVV systems for direct care workers who provide Medicaid-funded personal care, home health services, including agency and self-directed workers. Personal care services must use EVV by January 1 of 2021, and home health care services must use EVV by January 1, 2023. And just to clarify, home health care services are more of your skilled care needs, while we just discussed what the personal care needs are. So that's where we are, and then where we're going. EVV systems use an electronic device such as a smartphone or tablet or a landline telephone to record specific information about a service visit and verify that the visit occurred. Some members may be eligible for a free device to be placed in the home in limited circumstances where cell signal and landline connections are not available. So this is a list of the information that must be collected during each EVV visit. So the type of service performed, individual receiving the service, the date of the service, location of service delivery, individual providing the service, and time the service begins and ends. And just a clarifying point on this, these are for services that occur in a member's home. This is not about services that occur in any sort of facility or a day program. It's anything that occurs in the home, in the member's home. So this is where I was hoping, this is where we wanted to get to. So this is how it's impacting self-direction, specifically the PPP. So what we're doing right now is we have a pilot. So we wanted to make this process very mindful of our members and their families and our communities, and be mindful that this is a change and change can be challenging. So we wanted to take the process as respectfully and mindfully as possible. So we started with just one health plan, which was the plan AmeriGroup. So they are our pilot for now, and members of AmeriGroup and their caregivers are participating through utilizing the applications, the apps, to capture their clock in and clock out. They received their training with through the fiscal intermediaries and through their through the members, meaning the caregivers, to be clear. And they have been showing a lot of valuable implementation increases. We're seeing a lot more people finding the utilizing of the apps, clocking in and clocking out, capturing their visits, being more consistent with their visits. Everyone is coming along in a really nice way, and we're looking to start moving forward. We're ready to start bringing more NJ Family Care self-directed folks into the process. And we're finding that it's turning into a really valuable experience, making sure that our members are getting the services that they have requested and are part of their service needs, and that everything that we are paying for is being met for the member. So these are just some quick high-level resources for you that are available in regards to EVV. The top one is just the webpage for the DMOS page for EVV. We have a fact sheet, our second one. We have and I will say that the fact sheet is inclusive of anything related to DDD as well. If that's something that is valuable to you, please please avail yourself of that information. We have an FAQ, which just provides a deeper dive of the very basics that I just shared with you. And then we have a link to an FAQ for PPL specifically. So these are a great way to familiarize yourself with this new adventure. And that is the end of my presentation. I'm going to do my stop share, and I'm happy to answer questions. Oh, sorry, the acronym for EVV, yes, is electronic visit verification. You are correct.
Frozen. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I'm so sorry. My screen is frozen right now, but you guys can hear me. I can't see anything either.
Okay, I can definitely hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Did any?
Oh, we lost you again, Erica.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. So the question, how do I go about accessing a list of questions that go on during the intake process? So is that, hi Sandra, thank you for your question. Is that specific to the enrollment process or the options counseling? If you don't mind, both. So I don't know that they're not posted online. They're pretty basic questions. It's when talking to the health plan about PCA and PPP, if you would like to ask them for some clarification around what types of questions, there's no harm in asking those questions, but I don't believe we have them posted readily for reading beforehand. I saw someone had their hand raised. Is it possible to type up your question so I can help you out? Oh, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, there are no examples. Oh, examples I can outline. I apologize. Yes, let me see. It's basic questions about being comfortable with being in charge of running your own business, managing your own employees. Is there a need for support from an authorized representative? And pretty much just making sure that self-direction is a path that you're comfortable with, and that it's the right option for you. And that's the basics. The other questions for enrollment I think are pretty relatively basic, such as, demographics, where, address, phone number, things of that nature. I hope that's helpful. Okay, so as far as maximum hours, so for the most part, there isn't a technical maximum. It's really based on the need of the member. So that's a really great question. Most individuals tend to come in around no more than 40. It's usually, but it depends on the member, and it depends on other supports that the member may receive. For example, if like in the example that we used of Sarah. So Sarah works during the day. So while she's at work, she's not able to utilize, she's at work, so she's not able to utilize PCA while she's at work because it's services in the home. So why she was assessed for 25 is because the amount of hours she needed throughout the week were based on the specific needs that she needed during certain times of the day. So that's how the initial assessment was done, is if when they did the calculation, it was based on the type of needs she had, the times allotted for that, and it was calculated throughout a week. So she needed help with dressing or prepping for work, and she found that she could do that. She could use unpaid care on the weekends. I'm using as an example, unpaid care on the weekends, so her sister and brother could help her Saturday and Sunday. But she really needed help, 5 hours of help, or based on the assessment, Monday through Friday. That's how the assessment was calculated. When you move that assessment, if she wanted PCA help, the agency will send this many hours, this time every day. And that's the plan of care. Sarah needs 5 hours, 2.5 in the morning, 2.5 in the evening, Monday through Friday. That's that. And that's what the agency will provide. She chose to go into self-direction, then she could choose how those hours are provided throughout the week. If somebody is assessed for 40, it would be based on that whatever types of supports are needed, or if there are more supports required. So for Sarah, it was around the ADLs of dressing and things of that nature, or someone else may have more delicate needs or higher level of needs for a longer amount of time, and it's just calculated throughout the week. If a member, based on a higher level of need, is assessed for hours higher than that, the health plan may approve that. And that's done on a case-by-case basis, and it is based on the acuity of that member. I hope that helps with answering your question. So questions for ability type of questions, Sandra. I'm going to answer your first question about SSI because that's a really great question. And okay, so that's a two-part question, and it's a great question. So first, part of the reason that self-direction has what we call the fiscal agent or the fiscal intermediary means that the funding for the program is never, you as the member are never in possession in a bank account in any way as a resource held accountable for the funds that are assigned to you to utilize in a Medicaid program. So it has no impact on your eligibility. It has no impact on your financial income. So anything related to self-direction finances are managed by this fiscal agent. So it cannot impact your income eligibility. That's a great question. However, if someone in your home is providing you as your worker, their income is impacted by being your worker. So I'll give an example. And I'll use myself as an example in this story. So I have a family member who is receiving SSI and has hired me to be their worker. I work for this person. My income is captured as part of any eligibility for any services that I apply for. So for example, if I access SNAP benefits and as a head of household, if my income will be impacted by wages that I make as a PPP worker. So that's a really important question. And Sandra, I thank you for bringing that up. I hope that provides some clarity around, because it's a really important question. For the enrollment about the ability, thank you for asking me to clarify. Some folks that want PPP because they would really feel more comfortable with a family member taking care of them, but they know that they may not be comfortable with signing timesheets, or they are not comfortable with having to meet with a financial consultant. There may be elements of self-direction that is right for them, or in another, but they are not confident, or they would prefer to have someone else stand as their authorized representative. That is part of the reason about the ability. Some folks may say, I struggle with my short-term memory right now. I'd really like my daughter to help me be my authorized representative. I think she would really be valuable for me. Additionally, if we have a child or under 18 years old, if we have someone utilizing PPP, that individual, if they are under the age of 18, must have an authorized representative. So those are the kinds of reasons why there would be questions. So, a child is not directing their own care until they're of age and are able to. So I hope those couple of examples explain the difference there, because the goal of our program is to always make sure that people have the ability to self-direct, that they have the support if they need it, that it's available to them. And that if at any time there's a change in condition, or, sometimes we may have a member who they've been self-directing and then they had a medical incident where they need support for a while. So they'll say, while I'm recovering or while I'm doing this, I would like my daughter to temporarily stand in as my authorized representative to support me during this time. And then they can ask to transition back to not have their authorized representative. So there's always different scenarios, and it's really about trying to do the best to support the member. Our focus is success. We really take every effort to make sure that folks that are self-directing have the training, the dialogue, and the support to be successful. That's our goal. It's really important to all of to our team, to managed care, and to PPL that success is the outcome. Can a PPP recipient at any age work in any capacity or go to school or higher education while on PPP? Can a PPP recipient at any age work? So PPP, so if you're in PPP and you are able to work or go to school, higher education, yeah, absolutely. It really depends on what services you're assessed for, like what your assessment is for. So if you're in school and you need assistance with activities of daily living, and that's part of your PCA assessment, then yes, just be mindful that PPP is not intended to go to work with you or intended to go to school with you. However, depending on other elements of program eligibility from other divisions, there may be support for waiver supports in those areas. I am not an expert and I don't want to speak out of turn, but PPP as the state plan will support an individual who needs to get ready to go to school or needs to get ready to go to work, as long as that is part of their assessed need and they are eligible for NJ Family Care. Then yes, we have college students who use PPP. Our goal is to support members to live their life as they choose. So that is definitely occurs today. I hope that's helpful. Sandra, thanks for keeping me on my toes. Oh, let's see, got another question. No, Sarah, thank you. Keep me drinking my coffee, so keep my mind sharp. Any other questions that we have? We have about 9 minutes left.
Yes, and I apologize for my technical difficulties.
No worries.
I had to sign all the way out of my computer and come back, but I'm here. Yes, is there any other questions for Rebecca?
Oh, Sandra sent me another one.
Yes,
Okay. Is this Sandra? I don't want to be invasive. Is this for PPP specifically? Okay, great. Okay, yep. And he is okay. I don't want to rehash your family's private business here, but I hope my questions have been helpful in preparation for him. It sounds like there's a great opportunity coming his way. So I understand the investment. Yes, God willing. You also, Sandra, I put a helpline number there. If you call, you can always ask them to shoot me an email that you applied here, and if you've looked at the resources and it doesn't answer your questions or anything like that, you can just leave a message and ask them to send me your like a phone number or something, if that's helpful. So you can keep your information private, but happy to help in any way. I have a great staff of people who are really good at this, very committed to making this program successful, and we want to make sure that we're getting all the right information to everybody.
Any other questions? I think we're good. Okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this presentation. Thank you again for participating. Thank you so much, Rebecca Thomas from DMAHS, for your presentation. It was very informative. For our participants, please be sure to check out the rest of New Jersey Youth Conference. Additional workshops and information can be found on www.njyouthtransition.life. Additional resource information and our virtual resource guide can be found in our vendor village, also located on the website. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.